The government is launching a new civil service internship scheme, but it'll be open only to working class students.
Yes, it aims to supposedly make Whitehall better reflect the country by giving paid placements to those from lower income backgrounds.
Applicants will be judged based on what jobs their parents had when they were 14, replacing an older scheme that was open to everyone.
But is it right that working class kids should be prioritised, or is the government just letting meritocracy slip to one side? Well, joining us now to debate this is barrister Stephen Barrett and Labour activist Aisha Ali Khan. Hello, both of you. Stephen, perhaps we'll start with you. What do you make of this the government's new scheme to get working class people only into paid internships for the civil service?
Well, to me, this is indicative of how badly the relationship between this government and the people has become. The Labour Party was once proudly the party of the people, and now it is chock full of Poundshop Marie Antoinettes trying to gift out bits of cake to the people it sees as its lessers. I have volunteered in this sector for 14 years, and I can tell you that working class kids can succeed on merit, and they do succeed on merit. You won't find any of my mentees working in the civil service because the civil service is already bloated, it's woke, and it's very badly paid. And if there's one thing that working class children actually need, it's a properly paid job. So they would do far better if we went back to meritocracy, stopped patronising them with these silly little gestures and patronising handouts, and had an elite civil service that actually worked for the country. Yeah. That would be far better for everybody.
OK. Aisha, I think the problem I've got with this is that the Prime Minister's been asked many, many times to define what working class is, and he's not been able to do it. So how can we trust them to implement a scheme when they can't define what working class is?
Hi, Alex. I think it's one of those things where society has changed so much. 100 years ago, if somebody said, what would working class entail, a job, you could easily say, you know, somebody who worked in the mines, down the mines, somebody who was a servant, somebody who laboured. So the hard sort of back-breaking jobs, that would be the classic example of a working class background. But just, you know, I think this is a great idea, by the way. I think it's about time that we did allow people from all over the UK, from all different social backgrounds, to have a go at experience what it's like to work in Whitehall, to what it's like to work with different departments of the government. And I think it's fair to, you know, it's all well and good to say people should rely on their ability, their talent, their intellect, and so on. But we all know that people from certain backgrounds do not get those opportunities. And I think, look, it's 200 placements starting next year, and these people getting the hopefully that will get these placements, it's going to transform their job opportunities. It's going to transform their ability to get the next job, the connections that they're going to make. Their CV is going to look amazing. They're going to work with ministers. They're going to be doing all sorts of different jobs, and you know, I think it's a fantastic idea. Okay. And maybe it might not lead to something socially, it might not change much, but at least it'll give them another step up, another helping hand. And that's what we need to do with this country.
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
I'm not entirely sure that it is fair. I think that it says here that only young people from lower socio-economic backgrounds can even apply. But what's to say, that just doesn't seem entirely fair. Would it be fairer for everybody to be able to at least apply for something?
Well, I would say so too. And Stephen, would you not argue that, particularly in government, we need the best people for the job?
Well, they've messed up. I mean, Aisha's right that the definition is incredibly tricky, and they've already messed that up. So they're including kids whose dad is a train driver who earns $80,000 a year. Now, you can argue that's a working class job if you want to, but I think if you've got £80,000 a year coming into a household, it's probably doing okay, and that kid is probably doing okay. And that's where you get to when you start doing this sort of fantasy cosplaying aristocratic mode. You know, they're trying to patronize. They're trying to give gifts to people that they fundamentally don't understand. What's broken down is that they don't have a relationship or an understanding of ordinary people. They live entirely in a Whitehall bubble. That's why they're selling this as some sort of fantasy. What gift is it to our children to let them work in a broken home office that doesn't work? Which part of the broken civil service do we want them to work in? What a great CV build it is.
Stephen, I mean, you can absolutely argue whether many people would say the Home Office is working well. I certainly wouldn't, but many people would say that. I think the real problem I've got is that it seems to me that rather than encouraging young people to do better and to work really hard, look, I came from a working class background, a single mother parent household. It was very difficult for us growing up, but I worked my backside off and dragged myself out of that environment in order to give myself a better life. If there's not an incentive there to do that anymore, Aisha, are we just saying to everybody, don't worry about it, because your parents were perhaps poorer than others, you're going to get a leg up in society? Is that the right thing to do, or is it simply pandering for votes?
No, I think it's the right thing to do, but the way you framed it, Alex, I think is wrong. I think people from a background where parents, I mean, obviously Stephen's just mentioned potentially train drivers earning 80 grand. Majority of the people do not earn that much. Majority of the people are on 20,000, 30,000. They're really struggling to make ends meet. And the last thing they'll be thinking about is, you know, some fancy placement in London somewhere. They can't afford it. So I think this idea of actually encouraging people to think beyond not only their hometown, their home city, but beyond, and maybe look at somewhere like London, which traditionally, I mean, I'm from a working class background. My dad worked in the factories. He came over from Pakistan when he was 14, 15 and worked in the factories for years and years. We've got really good, strong work ethic, myself and my siblings. And, you know, I'm a teacher now, so I wouldn't classify myself as working class anymore. But I still remember my roots. And I think, and Alex, as you've just referred to your roots as well, it never really leaves you, does it? But if we were given those opportunities early on, it would help people. And I think, look, these are just placements in terms. They're only for 2 months. It's not as though we're giving them, you know, a £50,000 post and a gold-plated pension and so on. We're just giving these young people a taste of what it could be like should they want to work somewhere like London. And I think everybody should, I mean, when I go to London, my nickname is always Yorkshire or something, or Bradford, because I have a different accent to most people. And it's nice, it's refreshing, but it's not the norm in London. When I go and visit, majority of the people don't come across people like me. And I think we need to change that. We need to encourage more people to go to London, not just to visit, but to actually see themselves and work with government. So.
All right. Thank you very much there. Stephen Barrett, of course, brilliant barrister, and Labour activist Aisha Ali Khan. Thank you very much for joining us for that debate of the day.
Yes, thank you.